Making process is marred with pitfalls and shortcomings. Many of the areas our Justice Santosh Hegdeji has explained, focusing particularly constitutional amendments and also central laws. Due to lack of large-scale consultation and participation, laws are drafted in such a way as to leave loopholes that are neatly utilized by the law deviant community for their advantage. The elite group involved in drafting laws is normally not well exposed to the down to earth hard realities that the common man faces in real life situations, nor are they interested in or any or are in position to appreciate such situations. They tend to tailor make laws for the benefit of the affluent community, bothering least about the real socio-economic change that can usher in an egalitarian welfare society. The bills drafted by such elite groups, dominated by the bureaucracy, are hurriedly placed before the cabinet and approved without any discussion worth the name. Never, these bills are placed before the legislature party meetings of various political parties for threadbare discussion. Bills are not circulated among the legislators well in advance so that they can prepare for the debate in the House. When these bills are brought before the legislature, they are many times passed without any discussion or debate, making mockery of the lawmaking process. Of course, Hegdeji has right now mentioned how will be the parliament or the state legislature when these bills are brought before the House. As he rightly observed, sometimes many of us find difficult to pass bills because there will be no quorum. And somehow people sitting in the central hall or the canteen are forced to come back to the quorum bell sign. And that is how we have taken light of this whole exercise. Friends, you will be surprised to know that in Karnataka legislature, 12 bills were passed in just 2 hours on the last day in the legislative session held from July 5th to August 7th of 2007. What it means is that the average time devoted for each of the bill is not even equal to the time taken for an item song in a TV program or bowling of an over in a one-day cricket match. Because out of 10 minutes, 5 minutes will go because the chairman or the speaker will read out para by para, and the minister is supposed to stand up and request the house. He will take 2 or 3 minutes, even without explanation. If it is 5 minutes per bill, you can understand what may be the situation. This is the indiscriminate way in which laws are made in our democracy. In certain important laws like the Human Rights Act 1993, which is passed after discussing for maybe not less than 48 hours in the parliament. There is no newspaper in India which has not written editorial about this Human Rights Act. There is no columnist who has not appreciated the act of the government or the parliament for having passed this Human Rights Act 1993. We have passed that Human Rights Act 1993 with much fanfare in the media, and the matter is put to a grinding halt thereafter of the many of the provisions without taking the law so made to its logical conclusion by not making human right rules till today. Without the rules, the human rights courts cannot be made functional, and the whole human rights law is reduced to a mere paper law. There are many such laws which are made without making the follow-up rules, thereby not taking these laws to their logical conclusion. P. Sainath, the Magsaysay Award winner, editor of the Hindu Rural Affairs, in a lecture for Bureau of Parliamentary Studies and Training, remarks that it is appalling to see that our government clears law relating to SCZ in 6 months, but do not bother to bring about uniform land reforms law across the country even after 60 years of democracy, while mentioning how interest groups and pressure groups overpower the lawmakers' will and scuttle the people's interest. Hence, it is the right time to think to evolve some code of ethics for our political parties and legislators. The democracy demands that legislators be made duty bound to take up the bills seriously and study them in depth and contribute their might in the lawmaking process by actively involving in the legislative debate at every level. Perhaps one of the suggestions made by our Hegedeji that the legislators' speeches on particularly lawmaking should be publicized in their constituencies so that their participation level really increases and they become more serious in lawmaking process. In the present day scenario, legislators find themselves occupied more in administrative and executionary or developmental jobs in addition to their legislative responsibilities. In this view, one should also think in terms of bifurcating the developmental work and the legislative work of the legislators and prioritize these works by imposing a primary duty of lawmaking upon the legislators. Now, I would like to draw your attention to the question of public debate on legislative bills. The public response to the published bills is very poor. Even the well-educated citizens do not care to devote little time on these bills. I would like to share with you a very surprising, interesting experience of mine. A young girl of 13 years studying in 8th standard by name Shreya Malesh quickly and effectively responded through email and shared her views on the Child Rights Bill notified for public response. This bill was drafted by our academicians, I think Professor Raital or Professor Grace Patil. One of them was responsible for drafting this, and Government of Karnataka at that point of time agreed, approved, and we called for the public response. That time, this 13-year young girl responded immediately. And this shows the suggestions given by her were indicative of the mature thinking of our younger generation. I would like to state at this juncture that the people of our society should positively respond to the call given by the government by making best use of the IT facility available and contribute their thoughts and strengthen the lawmaking process. The poor response to the published bills is due to lack of education and poverty that is writ large in our society. The people at the grassroots level, especially the weaker section, are not well organized to participate in the lawmaking process. These groups should be strengthened and their voice should echo in the legislature. The process of lawmaking needs to be reversed. We have to initiate bottom-up approach by circulating the bills to village panchayats, taluka panchayats, jilla panchayats, and other local bodies for discussion. Their views are paramount in the wake of democratization of lawmaking process at the grassroots level. Care should be taken to ensure that it will not lead to legislative impasse by putting all and sundry bills for this kind of wide circulation. Only such bills which are likely to bring about systemic changes in the socio-economic structure of the society should be put through this mill. All these thoughts lead us towards taking a fresh look into the existing lawmaking process and revamp it completely. At the first instance, bill should be drafted after due consultations with the think tank established for the purpose. Secondly, the draft bill should be put for the public debate by widely circulating it among the public at large. Thirdly, seminars and workshops should be organized at randomly selected places. The inputs from all these activities should be carefully processed and utilized for fine-tuning the bill. Fourthly, the refined bill should be placed before the cabinet meeting for consideration, and due consideration should be made by the cabinet before according approval to the bills. Bifurcation of the legislative and other agenda of the cabinet is necessary to give focused attention to the bills. Fifthly, the approved bill should be sent to the leaders and members of the legislature parties with a requirement of conducting the legislature party meeting to discuss the bills. Sixthly, the bill should be circulated among the members of the legislature well in advance, strictly in accordance with the business rules. Seventhly, allocation of time for discussion on each of the bills should be made sufficiently and it should be strictly adhered to by the houses of legislature. Every member should be allocated sufficient time for presentation of his views representing the interest of his electorate. A comprehensive framework on these lines is a must to strengthen the lawmaking process. These are the type of issues I believe this seminar is looking at. A sincere beginning in the direction of strengthening lawmaking process is made in Karnataka in year 2005, realizing that contemporary laws must be enacted to bring to the fore the constitutional vision of the state built on the primordial ideals of liberty, equality, justice, and gender equality. A comprehensive policy and action plan for the Department of Law is framed in 2005 for the first time with the understanding that the vibrant legal system is the foundation for the establishment of society that upholds human values. An integrated approach for the governance of the state under the concept of rule of law is framed with a vision to take the laws out of the statute books where they often languish, update their relevance and make their fair application, interpretation and administration a reality so that the noble society with peace and tranquility is established wherein universal equality blossoms through social justice and the majesty of law is upheld. It should be our mission to revamp the lawmaking process in the state by updating laws, reforming them, repealing outdated statutes, and enacting meaningful ones with a view to minimize legislations and provide quick, affordable, effective remedies and take justice to the very doorstep of the common man. As a follow-up of action policy and action plan, the Karnataka Institute for Law and Parliamentary Reform is established with a laudable objective of bringing about reform of law and parliamentary practice in the state through research and publication of reports on specialized area of study in law, as also bringing about general awareness and advancement of knowledge through organizing seminars, symposia, workshops, and conferences on varied subjects of socio-legal relevance. I really appreciate Mr. Dakshinamurthy that whatever the objective we had, we nourished, and what we dreamt of Kilpar, that is now being really translated into reality. The state administration in 2005-2006 experimented with the democratization of lawmaking process by initiating a move to draft many bills involving the cross-section of intellectuals, academic scientists, academicians, scientists, engineers, lawyers, media men, NGOs, experts in relevant areas. Those bills are like food security ordinance, state human rights court rules, Karnataka state law university bill, child rights and welfare bill, primary compulsory education bill, employment guarantee bill are